Hey guys, back with another video. Today I'm going to be reacting to What Are Those Vine compilation. Let's go. Get up!
Officer, I got one question for you. What are those?
Just downtown. Any questions?
I got one question for you. What are those? Officer, I got one question for you. What are those?
Do you mind if I ask you a few questions for my report?
Sure. What would you like to know?
What are those?
10:30, I'm like,
what the? What are those?
Question?
What are those? What are the? I got one question for you. What are those?
And watch this, Mr. Krabs.
What are those?
Yo, Mike, you looking fresh as shit right now.
Thanks, Barney.
But I got one question for you.
What are those?
hey, SpongeBob, wanna see my new shoes?
What are those?
Excuse me, sir.
I got one question for you. What are those?
Hey, SpongeBob,
I got one question for you. What are those? What are those?
Bro, what the fuck are those?
God, I got one question to ask you.
What are those?
What?
What? I have a question. Yeah. What the fuck are those? What? One question.
What?
What are those? What are those? What are those?
Oh, I get it.
I got one question for you. What are those? What are the?
You suck fakes. Oh, all night that your face all welds up.
I got one question for you. What are those?
Hey, we need to get today though. Yeah. Come on, man. I'm ready for these hoes. These hoes ain't ready for me. Hell no! Get the fuck out of here!
What are those?
Hey John, I got one question for you. Got one question for you.
What are those?
What are those?
I have one question for you.
Did you eat ass?
What are those? Officer, I got one question for you. What are those?
I'll help you. Just one question.
What?
What are those? What are those?
I got one question.
What are those? What are those?
What are those? What are those?
Hey, alright, I got one question for you.
What are those?
Wait, oh fuck, god damn it.
More, I got one question for you.
What are those?
What are those? What are those?
Bop, 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 bop.
What is that?
Watch me whip. Hey, now watch me nay. Okay.
Hey Trixie, I got one question for you.
What is that? What is that?
Girls threatened pay. She pulled iSafe's pin.
What are those?
Ma, I got one question.
What are those? What are those?
But I've got another question.
What are those? What are those? Oh my God! What are those?
Mom, I got a question for you.
What are those? I got one question for you. What are those?
Shoes.
Ken, I got one question.
What are those? What are those? And what are these? Officer, I got one question for you. What are those?
Ellie, I got one question for you. What are those? What are those?
I got one question for you. What are those?
But I have like one question for you. What are those? What are those?
I got one question for you. What are those?
Holla at her.
I got one question for you. What are those?
Do you like my new boots?
I got one question for you. What are those?
He was just a kid with a lot of questions.
I got one question for you. What are those?
Shoe game on point.
I got one question for you. What are those? What are the?
I'm rich, nigga. Why I'm running the
I
city?
got one question for you. What are those? I got one question for you. What are those? What are the?
So if you like that guy, please comment or like or do whatever you want. And the final video will come out after this one. So this video is as well 6 minutes.